Hey, Kyra! Kyra!
You are my sunshine, my only sunshine. You make me happy when skies are gray. You'll never know, dear, how much I love you. Please don't take my sunshine away.
Kyra was the kind of person who really enjoyed life. She could maximize the enjoyment out of almost anything.
Hi, Kyra. How are you?
Good.
How's your vacation?
Good.
Did you have fun? Do you want to jump in the pool?
Yeah.
Hi, Paul. You're being an idiot, as usual.
She matured a lot, but she's always had a very silly side to her. She liked to have fun, for sure. And so a lot of the times she provided the entertainment for the entire family.
Kyra was literally anything and everything you could want in a friend. If you wanted someone to be like silly with and mess around and get in trouble, you'd go to Kyra. But if you also wanted someone who every teacher, every parent, every adult, every kid adored, you went to Kyra. And Kyra was just like a mom.
She's definitely like a mom. Like, she woke me up for school, she took me to school. Sometimes she cooked dinner, even though I always complained.
Even though she was like 2 years younger than me, I would say she was like my older sister, because when we needed her for something, like, she would always be there for us.
She would walk into a room and light it up. It could have been a dead quiet room. And she came in the room and life just got breathed in. It was just the way she was.
She just was always radiant, no matter what the day was like.
She always had a smile on her face, even when she was younger and even as she grew up into high school.
You just walked up to her, like, she just smiled at you, and then you instantly, you just be like, you never seen her, like, just not smile. Even if she had a mad face, it was like for 2 seconds, and then she'll smile. Like, she always just smiled.
I truly feel like Kyra had less bad days than like anyone I knew. Like, if she would be in a bad mood, it wouldn't take over her whole body. She would, complain about it, scream about it, yell at whoever was causing her to have a bad day, and then just get over it.
And it's funny because when she was little, she was much quieter. She was very quiet to herself.
Talk to me. How are you?
Good.
How was your day?
Good.
How was your 2 weeks of vacation? Good?
Good.
Did you have fun? What did you like most about the vacation?
Swimming.
Swimming? Do you like the aquarium?
Yep.
Okay.
I'm going upstairs.
All right.
That was one of the things we enjoyed watching as she became a person, is that change in her.
From quiet to had to have the last word. Always. Kyra had to have the last word.
If you said something to her, she was obviously going to have a smart aleck come back.
I'll just look at her and I'll be like, why are you so angry? There's no reason to be angry.
Yeah, she was funny and she joked around, but she was just somebody that wouldn't cause drama. Like, there was a lot of drama in high school, but she was just one of them that, like, wasn't involved with it.
Even if she didn't like someone's outfit, she would say, I really like your outfit, to make them feel like somebody liked them.
Anyone she saw, no matter what they were wearing, it was a compliment. Like, hey, I like your dress. And we'd walk past a person, she'd look at me and be like, I didn't really like their dress, but it seemed like they didn't feel comfortable in it, so they needed a compliment. They needed to know that somebody else appreciated how they looked.
She would just look at you and say, hello, beautiful. Like, her greeting was a compliment. And I think that that's a true testament to who she is, just trying to build people up.
I use it. I even got it tatted on me.
My absolute favorite thing to do was driving in her Jeep with the doors off and listening to country music, because that was just our place. And we talked about everything and anything under the sun. I remember a conversation, I was having boy issues because boys are stupid. And
she was like, don't worry about it. Like, we're leaving for college soon. It's a small issue in your world right now. She never focused on her. It was always about everybody else. She had a problem. It didn't matter. Your problem was way bigger.
She showed how much she really loved everybody around her every day. And that's something you don't always see in somebody her age.
As a parent, you try and teach your kids certain lessons, life lessons, and you try and teach them about how to treat others. And honest to God, I mean, Kyra, honestly, I mean, I knew she got them. I knew she was always very kind. I knew she always took to heart my thing about anti-bullying and, you know, reaching out and helping whoever and all of those things. I knew she got that, but I didn't realize how she hid that from us until after she died, the extent of it.
You were one of the first ones to see what happened, right?
Yeah.
Can you describe what that was like?
Like, I don't know. I feel like we shouldn't talk about that. Like, you know what I mean? Like, at least, like, go into detail on, like, what I seen or something like that. Because that's, like, kind of personal type shit. But, like, I don't know. See, I don't know how to answer these questions without, like, saying... Because I get what you're asking, but, like, if I feel like, we shouldn't at least talk about, like, that's kind of, like, too personal. Like, are you saying, like, what I seen? Like, to describe that?
Yeah.
I don't want to, like, at the tracks? No, we shouldn't do that. What's the other question?
Investigators have told the Hasselmans that Kyra had her headphones in when she was running on the train tracks near the home. The train tried to warn her, but she couldn't hear to get out of the way before the train hit her.
I got a call from Raheel, who was hysterical and was just like, where's Kyra? Where's Kyra? Like, why is Deirdre screaming? Why is Maeve screaming? Why did they just leave? Like, what's going on? And I was like, calm down. Like, why are you freaking out? What's going on?
My mom and I were doing Halloween decorations outside, and we heard sirens. And we thought, oh, that's so weird. There's so many of them.
That Saturday, the next day, we were supposed to go to the scare house. Huge group message. And I was at Bella's house, and we were just like, where's Kyra? What's happening?
It was getting late. I knew she was supposed to be going to the scare house, and I said to Maeve, I said, text Kyra and see where she is.
We tried to call Kyra. We were heading out to dinner, and there was no answer. But her phone rang back a minute later, and I answered. I said, where are you? I haven't heard from you. And there was a police officer on the other line. And instantly my heart just dropped.
My first reaction was that Kyra got into an accident with her Jeep. Because how many times has she hit that thing into something?
So many times.
So that was my first reaction, was that something happened with the Jeep. And Raheel goes, then why is the Jeep in the driveway?
He said she had been hit by a train. And when we were leaving the house, the last thing they could say was she had been alive when she left the scene. Not conscious, but breathing. They'd gotten a heartbeat back, and that they were taking her to Forbes Hospital.
And I took the phone and I just kept asking him, was she breathing? When he last saw her, he said they were working on her, and she was. So we left to drive to Forbes.
I don't even know what word to describe it. The drive to the hospital was the worst feeling that I ever felt in my life. That drive, we were just like, we literally convinced ourselves that when we got there, she would be there. And she would, might be banged up. Who knows? Because no one knew what happened. Whatever had happened, she'll be there though. And her voice will be there. And, her life would be there. And we would just, hug her and lay with her.
We got there, we were obviously very frantic, trying to figure out what happened, where was she. They brought us back to a private room and we waited there for a little bit. And family started to show up, and we still hadn't heard anything. And a caseworker came in and said the doctor will be in a minute to let you know what happened.
There's this stupid thing where a physician has to actually tell you that your child has died. They put you in a room
And my mom said, "Is my daughter alive?" And he said, "Well, let's wait for the doctor." And she said, "I don't need a doctor to tell me if she's alive or not, is she?"
The social worker came back in, and I finally just screamed at the social worker and told him, you're making me worse by just not telling me that she's gone. I don't need your physician to come in and tell me. I just want to know. And he did.
We had been holding out hope until that moment that she was still alive. But they said she had never regained consciousness after she was hit. They just had a heartbeat when she left, and they worked on her for hours at the hospital. They couldn't bring her back.
By the time we got there, Kyra had already passed away for about we were about 10 minutes too late.
They asked if we wanted to see her, and we said yes. We wanted to confirm it was her. So they said, "Oh, give us a little bit to, clean her up, and we'll go back."
We went in to see her, and I can remember walking into the room, and the first thought was, it's not my daughter. Then I got closer and I realized it was.
That was probably the hardest moment, was seeing her there and realizing that it was real. She wasn't coming back. Someone that had loved her life so much was just gone. And we didn't get a chance to say goodbye or anything. She was just gone.
I'm holding my little girl, thinking about when I used to read her stories or sing her songs, and all the jokes we used to do when we were little. I used to sing these guys a song, "You Are My Sunshine," and here's my daughter, a tangled mess.
What really stuck out in my head that day was walking in and seeing Maeve come out. And as Maeve being my older sister figure, watching her tell me that I would never be able to hug my best friend again was the worst thing in the world. It does not get worse than that.
I think probably the worst thing was, after holding her hand for so many hours, her hand was still warm. Letting go and walking out of that room was probably the worst moment of my life. It was the worst moment of my life.
I'll remember every second of that day. Every single thing that happened. Someone who had loved her life so much and loved everybody around her was gone, and there was nothing we could do about it.
I buried my twin brother when I was 19. I had been a surgeon in 2 different wars. I've seen young men and women blown up. I've seen just about every act against humanity you can imagine. There's nothing that I can even come close to the pain of seeing my daughter there dead. That pain is something that I can't compare any of the other things. I thought all the other things were horrible. They're nothing compared to seeing your own child dead.
It's just so unfathomable. It's just something that doesn't happen in our world. It's something, I've only ever had one grandparent die, and I expected it. Stuff like a 17-year-old girl, a friend in our friend group, that just didn't happen.
And you would think something like that shouldn't happen to someone like her, because she did nothing wrong. She was such a good person. But I don't know.
In 2016, still when it was still very fresh, everyone wanted to be an advocate for railroad track safety, and everybody was very aware that any choice that they made could not only affect themselves but their family. And now, it being the beginning of 2018, I think people have become less cautious, not only in our community, but the surrounding communities and stuff I see on social media. People think it's okay to walk on railroad tracks. Kyra would want people to remember that, not only when it happened to be cautious and careful and, value your life, but even now, that should be a lesson that sticks with you for the rest of your life. A life was taken. One of the most precious lives that anyone has ever encountered with was taken. by something so stupid as walking on railroad tracks.
With headphones, yeah.
With headphones in, which is not only illegal, but I mean, it's dumb. And it's the thing that I think crushes us the most is knowing that it could have been so easily prevented.
Kyra wouldn't want to see anybody ever have to go through this. And I know that that would be important to her.
At any moment, your life can be taken away from you. So do what you can to be smart and do what you can to prevent any tragedies. Because I'm sure if this had happened in our community prior to Kyra, more recently, that I'm positive she wouldn't have been on those tracks. And it is so heartbreaking to say, but Kyra is an example. And we did not want our friend, and I know the Hasselmans did not want their daughter to be made an example, but that's the only way people are gonna learn.
You have to move on. You have to go get your nails done. You have to go to college. You have to go to that party, because that's what life is. It's moving on, but it's like, it's like you stop yourself. You're like, but she can't. She's still, I don't know. That's just like the memories. Life's hard, but like you still want people to like be there.
Still now doesn't feel real. Like to me, it feels like one of these days she's just gonna walk through the front door like nothing's ever happened. I'm gonna be like, yo, what's up?
If you remember the Wizard of Oz and the Tin Man, he was told by the wizard that the size of your heart is not based on how much you love, but how much you're loved. Pretty much the entire time her viewing was going on, there was probably an 1/8 to a 1/4 mile line up and out around the corner for a 17-year-old girl. I mean, you could see people who lived and are doctors or lawyers or famous people who don't have that line that a 17-year-old girl did. That's just a testament to her and who she was as a person.
Right when Kyra passed away, just the way that life was working out, like there was a lot of hostility and there was a lot of drama going on in our grade, and everybody completely dropped what they were doing and put aside all our differences, and we all literally came together.
Like a lot of girls in her grade like didn't like each other, but like after Kyra passed, like they became friends.
It not even only brought like our friend groups, and I mean, I got closer with my family. I know many other people did, but it brought our whole community like back together.
Some of the boys actually made a memorial for her down there, where people that cared about her, a lot of the members of the senior class, her best friends, all of our family went down there, and we put our handprints on a wall.
One person couldn't have done that. It took the whole squad to do it, and then everybody took part in it and putting their handprints there, and people still take part in it by making sure that the area is clean and that it's presentable and it's what Kyra deserves.
All of them wanted to do it out of love for her and remembrance to her.
She might not be here anymore, but you can still see these beautiful things that remind people of her life every day.
Thinking back on it, like, my friends know me. I'm a harsh person. I am. I'm straight up, I'm forward. But after that, I tried so hard to be just a nicer person. Like, trying to follow in her footsteps.
Kyra was like the motivation for the rest of the year for everything. When someone needed to get an art project done for class, what was their subject? Kyra, because everyone was passionate about that. Senior class gift was like a bench. And it was motivated by Kyra. Like Kyra was just everybody's motivation for the rest of the year.
If I have a game or a soccer game or something, I'm like, Kyra would want me to win this and I'm gonna win it for her. Or if I'm going to school and I know I have a test, I'm gonna study like Kyra would.
Still everyday, like normal things that she would do or would say, people try to keep alive for her.
I have a tattoo of her on my arm, so she goes with me everywhere I go.
I just thought that that's amazing how like one person can motivate so many people and bring them together.
Jared and I are working on creating Ciara Joyce Foundation, which we will donate to and get others and create a scholarship for the school from ourselves in her name and in her honor. The lesson she taught me was to really rapture every moment the best you can. I don't sit down to my paperwork anymore. If Anya wants something, I spend the time with Anya or with me, with Deirdre. I've learned what's really important. What I do is my job. Who I am is a totally different thing. And she taught me that. She taught me that there are other things in life that are much, much more important than what you do. And that's something she taught me. Don't usually think that children teach you something, but they do.
When you pass away, you don't want bad things to be said about you. You want everyone to realize how amazing you were. And her legacy is just always be kind to everyone, because that makes you a person that people will want to remember and want to have good memories with.
We don't know what tomorrow is ever going to hold. So why not be that beauty or be that person that brings such joy to others, even if you are only here for 17 short years.